Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FuelMade's D2C Inspiration Series, where we're partnering up with experts to talk to the founders and marketers of amazing brands. I'm Tina, and I lead marketing at FuelMade. We're a Shopify agency that specializes in custom development and design, conversion rate optimization, and Klaviyo email and SMS marketing. So I'm super excited to have Klaviyo with us today as one of our partners on the show. And then we also have Christopher from Shoe Sensation. And we're going to be talking about abandoned cart flows and all of the best practices around that. Before we dive into things, though, why don't you both give a brief introduction into who you are, what your role is, and a little bit about Klaviyo and Shoe Sensation. And Christopher, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm the digital marketing manager at Shoe Sensation. We are a regional shoe store. We have brick and mortar locations throughout the Midwest, and then we also I handle the online presence as well for paid media, organic media, so on and so forth to ensure people can get to our shoes, get their shoes online on our online website.
Awesome. And what about Klaviyo, Adam?
Hey, thanks for having me. My name's Adam. I'm a partner success manager here at Klaviyo, which means I work with agencies trying to optimize all of their accounts within Klaviyo, whether that be with email or SMS. And really Klaviyo as a whole, if you guys don't already know about us, we're just helping marketers basically own their business in terms of their marketing. So whether that is building out email campaigns, setting up SMS flows, and what we're going to be working or looking at today is an abandoned cart flow that Chris has set up within the Klaviyo product.
Awesome. Thank you both for taking the time to join me today. Like Adam said, we're talking about abandoned cart flows. And Adam, I actually know you already pulled data to kind of open up this conversation and give some context into what we're talking about today. So I'm actually just going to pass things over to you now to kind of give that context and lead our Q&A today.
Awesome. So yeah, just to brag a little bit for Chris, this flow that we're going to be looking at today is their top performer within the Klaviyo product. It's received $14K in revenue in the last 30 days, and their revenue per recipient is over $2.50. And their average open rate across all of the emails that go out is 37%. So really great metrics to have. And as you could probably see, we can't even see an email or an SMS communication this first screen. Just goes to show the complexity that's already set in this type of flow. And so I'm going to slowly zoom out here. And as I do that, Chris, do you mind, and we'll get into the finer details with more questions, but do you mind just giving us an overview on this flow and how it came to be in the first place?
Yeah, abandoned cart is definitely one of those flows in retail that you kind of wish you had in real life. You know, someone picks up a shoe and they put it back and you're like, oh, I wish they would have bought that. And with the luxury of the internet, we're able to actually track people who add items to their cart and then don't always go to the checkout. They don't go the final 10% there. So that's kind of what this flow is for, to kind of push them and remind them, hey, you put this in your cart for a reason. Why did you get it there? How can we help you become an owner of that pair of shoes? And this is it could be as simple as Adam said, as just a single email. Hey, you like this, let's help you buy it. But instead we've kind of gone a little more in depth in the breakdown and how we can actually as a company manage our margins on that product, but also different brands and companies that we work with have regulations on promotions and marketing that we can actually send out. So this has some of those details built into the logic throughout it, but also helps people, remind them, hey, you didn't finish checking this out. How can we get that to you?
Awesome. Yeah, and I think we're just starting really right at the top. I know this isn't something that you guys are necessarily 100% leveraging in like right now, but this Facebook abandoned cart, adding this profile property, it's a feature that people don't typically use. And if I quickly scroll down at the bottom, what you do is you remove that profile property at the end of each path. And so basically, while someone is in this flow, they have that profile property assigned. Mind just talking to us about why you guys put that in place, maybe for the future?
Yeah, for the future. So the idea is, cross marketing. Everyone is on their website, then they may go to social media, then they may go, to another social media, then back to the website, so on and so forth. So, to kind of help people, remind them of stuff they saw, and help kind of nurture them to that final, cross the finish line and purchase the product. We want to make sure we leverage other places we're already currently doing marketing campaigns. So we have Facebook campaigns set up to kind of track people, so they can actually see the product and be reminded of it throughout the whole thing. So something that we're not utilizing fully yet, but something that we are at least thinking of and testing, is like, if you're on the website, then you go to Facebook and you're served an ad from Shoe Sensation anyway, you don't maybe want to see a shoe that you're not interested in. Maybe you want to see one that you are interested in, and this will, as long as you're in that flow. And the flow, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is about 24 hours. That's not a very long flow. You're not in there very long, so within a day you might see that again and be reminded, and then incentivized to purchase the product.
For sure. And you alluded to this in the beginning, kind of during the overview, having these splits by dollar amount, right? And so as I scroll down here, we're not going to jump into each one of these emails. That would take too much time, but you could even tell by some of the language here in the subject lines that we're providing different offers between where, how much value is actually in that abandoned cart. So do you mind just double clicking in on that and giving some more background on why you guys decided to do this?
Yeah, of course. In retail, we are very concerned about our gross margin for our product, right? We don't want to be giving away items that wouldn't actually help anybody throughout any of the process. So using these tiers, we're able to say, hey, look, this item, we are able to give away this much gross margin with our offer. And, an example would be, if we had one set discount code, say, you were looking at, sandals that were $10 to $15, and you got a code in that says $40 off. Well, that's not going to make any sense. That's going to be a very confusing message for the end consumer, and that's not something we're going to be able to kind of to offer. So by using these breaks, we're able to create flows that are tied into that product value as well, and not create a bad experience for the end consumer.
Totally. I personally love to see this. I see more abandoned cart flows than I care to share, but so many times what we see is just one direct path down, right? Or maybe two at the most, splitting out by various different factors. But this one, you guys are very, very specific with why you're splitting, and you're creating a specific message for each one of those groups. And I could slide over here. It's more of the same in terms of, depending on that value, we're giving a different offer. I know this, and you also know this, but for those who are listening and watching, I could quickly see that there are two cards actually here, which means that there was some sort of test that was either run in the past or a test that's currently running. Looks like you've done it here as well. You don't need to call out this specific test, but what are some of the tests that you've done within this flow to prove out winners or losers?
Yeah, of course. One of the things as a consumer I don't like is, someone the first actual, use that first card that doesn't have an A/B test as an example. It looks like you've left something behind. Well, what did I leave behind? Is it an offer? Is it a product? What is it? So, to really clarify to the consumers, we had some very vagueness, like maybe the mystery is what's going to open the email, or maybe they would really want to know what they're going to save right then and there. So we were running tests to do subject lines back and forth, whether it was as vague and mysterious getting more clicks, or is a more straightforward, this is what you're going to save, dollar amount, hard, kind of hard stop here, going to be better. And you can tell by these, the card in front is usually the winner for these tests that we ran here to do that. So we were testing subject lines between essentially what the click rates were and how they could perform better for us.
Excellent. Yeah, that's subject line tests are the best, right? Because they involve very little effort, right? You're not rehauling the entire visual of the email itself. You're just changing a subject line. As long as that subject line isn't practically the same, you make a clear adjustment between the two copies. We find it's a no lose situation, right? You find, even if you find the one that you're surprised to win, you get a learning, and you could even, leverage that across this flow or maybe even different flows. So
Yeah.
love to see that.
And some of these, are also, I believe farther down the line, it may not be even in this flow, is percents versus dollar signs. Do people like to do the math themselves, or do they want a hard dollar amount? So like that one's 10%, the one to the left is $5. So, we also toy around with how do the consumers, what is a more attractive offer overall to an end consumer? And so it's not just necessarily the language sometimes, but the presentation as well.
For sure. Awesome. So this is going to be my favorite part of the flow. Again, I talked about a lot of flows I see, right? We're path one, maybe path two, but email is the main focus, right? So I would love to, and you guys clearly have implemented SMS. As we scroll down here, you could see a couple of SMS messages. Talk to me about just, I think, the idea of even adding in SMS to your already existing email flow to begin with.
Yeah. For us, again, we've talked about this before, Adam, is that, we offer a text to join kind of scenario for our stores. You text and join, and you get an offer instantly, and then you can also get offers down the road. And what we do every week in our campaigns is actually nurture that text message conversation. It's, again, we've talked about text message. You can either be feel violated if you get too many texts that are very spammy and promotional, or you can feel like you're part of a company and brand and family if you make sure you send those out in the right cadence and include the right stuff. So we've nurtured a lot of our customers to expect a text message from us throughout the week, but also not to be, hey, buy this product kind of thing. So what we've done here is kind of extended that a little bit. Our people who are already opted in, as you can say, consented to receive SMS with us, which is our initial capture with an offer, and then going a little bit further to like, hey, you're on our site, you're part of our unofficial club, if you will. Let's go ahead and remind you and kind of help you finish cross that finish line to purchase that sale by getting a text message directly to your phone that you can click through and check out from there a little quicker. Emails, again, everybody gets emails, probably way more spam emails than you'd like to think. And you kind of become numb to those. So the SMS is a way to have that what I consider a direct conversation with someone on a personal level, and give them a quick way to do this without being or having to search through their inbox for something, and for us to jostle for position in an email inbox as well.
Yeah, amazing. And that's the cool thing. This is going to sound a little salesy on the Klaviyo side, but you guys were able to hit these people specifically right with SMS, and then depending on the criteria, if they're not consented SMS, there's no worries. They're still going to be able to get their email. So you could play on both sides. You don't need to pick one or the other. They're not on top of each other either. You're not getting an SMS and an email at the exact same time. There's a thought process to all of this, and clearly that's something that you guys thought about when you were putting this flow together.
And with Klaviyo, it's very easy not to leave people out. Again, if you're using lists and segments properly, you can include everybody in your list, whether they have opted into SMS or email as well, and make sure the proper people are getting the right message at the right time.
For sure. Some of the more granular stuff, I think, as we look at this again, maybe not everyone would pick this up just quickly looking at this flow, but if we look at the SMS messages, we have the quiet hours on, which is just a feature basically saying we're not going to send this person an SMS really late at night. Like you said, Chris, it's a very personal channel, and if you get a message while you're trying to sleep, it could be a little bit disruptive. And then for the emails, on the email side, I noticed this little envelope is not highlighted, which means across all of these emails, really, smart sending is not on. It's turned off, which means everyone's going to be receiving this message. Do you guys think strategically hard about that, or was that just something that you guys decided right off the bat we're not going to have that on?
Yeah, and for this specific abandoned cart thing, we believe that is very important that you get the product you want to see. You're already interested in buying. You're not, to use a phrase from the movie Hitch, you went 90, we got to go the final 10 there to kind of seal the deal. So it's very important that, if you've been on our website or received an email that we possibly sent out promotional wise, or, you signed up for another flow, we don't want you to miss out on this way to cross that finish line. So the smart sending was definitely turned off on these intentionally to make sure that they do see this and they're able to make a purchase with whatever offer we're giving them in that moment.
For sure. I think we're aligned in that thinking. I've always taken, or sometimes I wait for the data to decide, but to me, these type of flows, they're even more personal than your campaigns, right? You could send a campaign out to a great segment, but at the end of the day, these people took an action. And so I typically prioritize these as in keeping the smart sending off. And then if you're worried about over inundation, you turn smart sending on for maybe a campaign, which is just, like I said, it's impossible to be as tailored as something like this because it's triggered off of some action that they made themselves.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think the one other thing that actually, this will circle back to SMS. The one other thing that I wanted to talk about is, and again, we're not gonna click in on these, but the content itself, you guys actually decided to put in dynamic, or actually really tested and learned that the dynamic content within these SMS texts, so showing that product that they abandoned their cart in within the SMS message, referring it to as an MMS at that point, you learn that one. Mind just talking us through kind of that test and why you thought that was the winning experience?
Yeah, I'm a strong believer that shoes have to look good and feel good at the same time for people to purchase them. So the feel good part comes with the trying on, and you don't get that luxury online with online shopping, but maybe you're used to it, you're accustomed to it, or something, a brand your size in. But the other thing is it's got to look cool, and sometimes you're looking at something because shoes look good. Like, oh, this looks awesome, it'll go with my outfit, or it'll I just like the way it looks. I know I'm guilty of buying shoes over how they look better than how they feel sometimes myself. So it's a very visual medium. It's a visual product, and it's other people are going to notice that about you. They're going to look at it. The other half of that is product names for shoes can be very, very close. They kind of do slight variations in names, but the shoe may look very different. So using MMS, we're able to present the product that they saw online, that they visually remember adding to their cart, and send that back to them in a visual method so they can see that picture of that product to complete the purchase as well. Because sometimes it's just a little trigger of a visual thing, like, that did look really cool, or that will really go with my outfit for an event, or just a regular work day. So yeah, I want to go ahead and go through with that and get that in here as quick as I can. So using the visuals to just kind of remind people a little bit more than just the generic name of whatever the brand is or the style is that extra push to get them across that finish line.
Awesome. Well said. So as I kind of filter, I guess, back up to the top of this flow, I think the last question I wanted to ask you is just any advice for other brands trying to improve their abandoned cart flow, just knowing that you guys have such a great performing flow here?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is don't be afraid to fail forward, if you will. One of the things, as big at We Are at Shoe Sensation is that, everything can be a test. Everything in Klaviyo makes it easy to make it a test. And, if you're going to learn from your mistakes, but also you may find something that works really well better on down the road just by trying something new, or looking at how you as a consumer like to receive your messages and how that affects you as a person. Removing the marketing mindset, we call it the curse of knowledge. You know more about this than the consumer does, so put yourself in their shoes for a little bit for that. And then also like I said, just don't be afraid to try more and expand it. And then if it doesn't work, go back. But again, Klaviyo uses A/B testing, which is really easy for us to pick, for it to automatically even pick a winner, that we don't even have to sometimes come back and do anything. It's already done that for us, and we just have to clean up the flow a little bit more along the way.
Yeah, well said. I think, yeah, fail forward. I think I've always said fail fast.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're not testing, you're really leaving money on the table, right?
Yeah.
Because there's probably always some sort of solution out there that you maybe haven't tried that could reveal or provide better results. So
And I think just to add to that real quick, Adam, is routine. Having a routine and having something set that you may have set up a year, 2 year, 3 years ago is great, but there's always room to go back and revisit those things and update them to enhance them, or even change it up a little bit, because that's one of the things we do with our SMS campaigns, not necessarily in the flow, is we don't do it the same day of the week at the same hour. I want to make sure it's at a reasonable hour, but it's not the same day, so it's not something you're just expecting, like day in, day out, week in, week out. So being able to go back and revisit older campaigns and make those adjustments, like this one, the MMS, we didn't cover it here, but we're only doing it on our higher end products right now and moving our way backwards into the smaller items. So that's something that we've gone back and adjusted, but we didn't do it all at once. We're just doing one small step at a time, testing it, making sure we're seeing results, and then making those changes going forward.
awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Quote of the day is fail forward. Thank you both so much for joining today and taking the time. I feel like I learned so much listening into this, so I know everyone else is going to have some really key takeaways from this conversation, and the visuals were super great. So thank you for letting us see your flows as we're talking through them too. We appreciate that. Before we wrap things up here, I would just love to let people know where they can learn more about Shoe Sensation and Klaviyo. And why don't we start with you, Christopher?
Yeah, for Shoe Sensation, that's just shoesensation.com. We have our online stores, and you can also, if you're in one of the regions, we have a store finder to find one of our stores and go visit and see what we have there. But yeah, shoesensation.com for us.
Awesome. What about Klaviyo?
Yeah, same pretty basic, just klaviyo.com. And if you're looking to also maybe contact me, I'm on LinkedIn as well. It's Adam Zlakis with a Z, but yeah.
Perfect. And for anyone else that's still listening in here, we have an ebook that we put together that features all of the founders and marketers and brands that we've been showing in this series, but it actually will dive in even deeper than these conversations, showing metrics, tactics, stories, key takeaways, all that great stuff. And it's free to download, so I'll link to it in the comments, and you can learn more about Shoe Sensation and their abandoned cart flows there. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you at our next episode.